You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. Disney.
Well, hello, and there we see everyone, and wow, we've got a good audience tonight. They're coming in for a very special program here on the Six Screens Telenetwork. Friends, I'll tell you what, I do the news every week, but the biggest buzz that went on this week in the ex-Jehovah's Witness world was a concept that Jimmy came up with. Jimmy Bell, he's a former Jehovah's Witness out of North Carolina, and he has his assistants working with him, and boy, what a great job they did. What Jimmy's vision is, as well as his helpers here tonight, is to get as many of us ex-Jehovah's Witnesses to be able to write a letter to Donald Trump or the administration, actually suggesting how the Watchtower treats people. Now, he calls it Operation Spotlight, and we're going to hear more about that tonight. You're going to have the opportunity to call in and talk to Jimmy and his helpers. You're going to have the opportunity to hear something that could be really changing the whole message of the witnesses. Maybe if we can get the attention of this United States government, if we can get their attention on how evil and corrupt this organization is, it could be a game changer. So let's bring Jimmy on first. Say hello to Jimmy Bell out of North Carolina. Hello, Jimmy.
Hey, Rick. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good tonight, Jimmy. Yeah, boy, I'm so glad you could put this together. I know you put it together in kind of short time, but I want to thank you and your helpers here tonight. I want to thank, we got Ruby on now as well, so that's good. And boy, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a good setup here tonight. So why don't we do this, Jimmy? Do you want to bring all your helpers on now, or you want to introduce yourself first or say something, or should we bring them all on?
Well, you go ahead and bring them on, and while you're doing that, I just want to say thank you so very much for giving us to be able to make this announcement. Some folks already know this, but it's important to get this message out to as many people as possible. So I want to thank you so very much for supporting our work.
Well, Jimmy, I'll tell you what, it really makes me aggravated because, I go through all the ex-witness stuff. I go through YouTube. I go through the different forums online. And what really ticks me off is you got naysayers. And I don't...
You think?
I think that's very unfair. That's not right. You and your really beautiful helpers here. You're trying to get a good thing going here, but there's always going to be someone pulling you back. So that ticks me off, but I hope you guys tonight, and I know you can really convince this audience to do this. So I'm listening intently. I'm here if you need me. So I'm going to bow out of here, but I'm here, okay?
All right, Rick. Thank you so much. Well, hello, everyone on Six Screens. It's really nice to be back to see you all here. I know it's been a while since I've actually had a program here, but this is something that's very special. It means a lot to me and the team, something that we've worked really hard on. It came to us Thursday of last week, and we were able to finalize everything this Thursday and have the operation go active on Friday. So I promise to answer all the questions that you guys may have. We're going to try to go through this, explain it very thoroughly on what our vision is for this. And I'm also going to read the letter tonight because there's folks that don't even know about the letter. And I've read it twice already on my channel. And so speaking of that, if you know nothing about this, go ahead and go on over to my YouTube channel. On the live tab, I have 4 videos. I have the one where the idea originated. I have one where we read the rough draft, one where I announced the name and the email address for this, and then we have the final draft that I did. Well, I redid the video last night, and I put that on my YouTube channel. So, so go check those out, and that'll give you, after this video, and you watch those, I think you'll be really well caught up on what we are doing here. But before we get to all that, I need to introduce the Operation Spotlight team. And we have Monica Kincaid, Shelly Dean Brayu. Did I say it right, Shelly?
Hi. Yeah, that's fine. No worries.
Okay, all right. And then we have our little millennial spitfire, Ruby Quinn. And so, what I would like for you ladies to do for me is just announce or just introduce us to yourselves a little bit. Just tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll get into everything because maybe a lot of people don't know who you ladies are. Monica, you want to go first?
Yes, of course. My name is Monica Kincaid. I live in Texas. And actually, I'm from Argentina, but I moved to the United States when I was very, very young. And actually, I met my husband in Argentina during an international assembly. Probably most of you know or remember the 1990 International Convention, Pure Language. He was an American delegate, and I was actually an English teacher back then. And I worked with the ESL, or English as a Second Language, students. And I already knew English, and I was able to communicate with all the delegates. And that's why I was working with a delegation back then, right? So I met my husband, we got married, we came to the United States, and now I am an English teacher. I work for a high school here in Texas, South Lake. And basically that's it. I've been I was actually, no, I was in the organization for over 45 years. And we recently left the organization.
When did you
after all
leave?
those years.
When did you leave?
Last year.
Last year?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
Last year. Yes.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
we started to watch actually Mr. Fearon's show. We watched The Critical Thinker back in 2021. My husband was an elder. We were both pioneers. We pioneered for over 30 years together. We've been married almost 32 years. And the thing is that we started to see a lot of discrepancies in the organization. And one of them was when VVAX, right? The shot.
Yeah.
The COVID shot. He actually was forced to get the vaccine if he wanted to serve as an elder. But the doctor told him not to, because he said, I will not be responsible if you die, because he has some health issues.
Right. Is he feeling better, by the way? I know he's been sick this week.
Yes, he's doing better. He's doing better. Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Good.
So that's when we started to doubt certain things. But we actually started way back to probably 2016, 2017. Last time we went to Pioneer School for the third time. That what really woke me up was hearing from the circuit overseer that Armageddon was coming, of course, and and we were not to bury all the bodies after Armageddon, and the birds were going to eat the flesh, and we were going to take possession of all the beautiful homes. And what the birds didn't eat, the antimatter was going to take care of them. So right there is when I said, I don't want to worship a God like that, But of course, indoctrinated, I put everything behind me. I don't want to think about it.
Right.
And we kept on going. And then right at the beginning of 2020, 2021, our doubts were reinforced by the I don't
incident?
know. Go ahead.
I said about the incident.
Yes, the incident. And that's when we started to doubt, really, really, really bad,
Yeah.
Let's talk colloquial, right?
Yeah.
So, yes. So, and we've been just, we sent our letter of disassociation, and we stipulated the reason why. And that was it.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Monica. It's been a pleasure working with you. And it's nice that the folks get to know a little bit about you. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right, let's move to Ruby Quinn. Ruby, tell us a little about yourself.
Hey guys. Well, I'm a fourth gen Jehovah's Witness, and I woke up around 2015. And, ever since then, none of my kids have set foot in a kingdom hall. And I really kept quiet out of respect for the family, wanted to keep my family. But then I found out that one of my uncles had to register as a sex offender. But he was still a Jehovah's Witness, and he got reinstated, and he was welcomed back into the family and treated like if nothing ever happened. But they were soft shunning me because I was inactive. And I was like, that's weird and wrong. So I said, you know what? It is what it is, but I still kept quiet. But then around 2021, my grandmother and my uncle passed away. And those were the only two people that I had enough respect for to stay quiet about the religion. So after they passed, I said, this is my moment. I am going to go full blown apostate and make a YouTube channel. And that was my very first video, was exposing my uncle as a current active Jehovah's Witness, registered as, a sex offender. And how it didn't sit right with me, how I was being shunned, but a pedophile was being treated better than me. So that's basically my beginnings and when I started YouTube. And I've been about a year on YouTube now. So I'm really new in the YouTube activism side of the community. But I've been around online since 2015, 2016.
All right, cool deal. And just for the folks that don't know, Ruby, can you tell them the shows that you host for the community?
Yes. So I started my own show to talk about politics. As you know, Jehovah's Witnesses cannot vote, and we never really had a political opinion, right? Because we had to be neutral. So I started the XJW Political Corner that I go live every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. And then I co-host the JW News show with Vern on Fixing My Faith channel. And he's another XJW, and he's been here on before. He's from Canada. And we do that show every Friday at 9 p.m. So those are the two shows that I do currently.
All right. So we're gonna put a little shameless plug in for one of the shows. Tell us just what's been the experience so far for you on the XJW Political Corner?
It's been a nice one, a roller coaster. We hit a few bumps, but I think I handled it pretty well. And yeah. Jimmy was there present for that. And I love having Jesse and Gigi as frequent guests, and my cousin King Tony. And it's really nice to finally come out of our shells politically, despite other XJWs that might disagree with me, but that's good. It's healthy and I love it. So I'm glad that I started it. And we've been going strong for about 8 months on that show. And I'm so glad to have Jimmy he always comes every Tuesday night. I don't even ask him. He just hops on stream. And I'm so thankful for that, because I'm like, if I didn't have Jimmy here, I would probably be all over the place. But Jimmy has really been there for me. So thank you so much for always being on my show.
Well, hey, I love it, and I enjoy being there. I love helping you out. I want to see your channel grow, and especially with the subject matter that we cover there, because there's so many people in the XJW community that don't know a lot about the politics and how things work, and so and some, they don't want to talk about it because they feel like they'll be ostracized or gaslighted or whatever within the community. And unfortunately, that's true, because I know that when I came out to talk about politics, yes, I had some that were listening and they had their ears open and they were willing to hear the information. But then others, man, just like Rick said, some people can be naysayers and be kind of nasty. So it's nice that we have this platform, because we literally talk about everything on that show. I mean, you name the quote conspiracy, we've talked about it. I mean, some of the ranges we go. And the cool thing is we have it set up to where, or Ruby has it set up to where you can actually call in and you can be on camera. You can ask questions. You can debate us. It's a really good format. And then today she invited me to sign up with StreamYard so that when she does go live on her channel, it'll also go live on my channel at the same time. So, and it also goes live. Does it do, you do it on Vern's anymore?
Yes. Well, okay, no, not on his personal channel, but the StreamYard account allows me to stream simultaneously on different destinations. So I'm gonna do my YouTube channel, yours, and then my X account.
X. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So join us at 9 o'clock on Tuesday nights, and I'm telling for those that don't know, some have said and referred to me as the Q guy on that program. So I go a little deeper than what I normally do on my shows and shows like Six Screens here. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ruby. I appreciate that. All right. Let's go to Miss Shelly. Shelly, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience? And I'm going to tell you folks, y'all are going to be surprised. Go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Shelly Dean Breo. I am an Australian resident. I normally live in Australia, but I'm currently in America at the moment. My journey into advocacy, the advocacy work for child abuse survivors, sexual assault survivors, and domestic violence survivors began as a teenager when I was a survivor myself. So that was within the Jehovah's Witness religion. I reported within those networks, as we were required to, and it didn't go anywhere. And I just felt that it was such an unjust process and extremely traumatizing for survivors. And I just couldn't understand how children could go through that process and be okay at the end of it. So I suppose from something negative has turned into something positive. I felt that, I should speak up about it because there was a lot of other people who'd been assaulted by the same person that stayed quiet. Well, not a lot of other people, a couple, within my family and whatever, for their own reasons, and that's fine. But I just wanted to do something different. So of course I tried to tell as many people as I could in that religion and got into trouble for speaking about it. I then told the elders I wanted to, report to police. I was told not to do that. It had to be confidential, and protect Jehovah's organization, and you shouldn't take a brother to court. And then eventually, actually my story is in the Royal Commission. I'm BCG from the Australian Royal Commission. So they asked me to assist them with their investigation into Jehovah's Witnesses for case study 29. I actually approached them in about 2013, I think it was, early 2013 or 2013, I think it might have been. And I contacted them because I was studying law at the time and I wanted to write my honours thesis on a topic that was new. And, we had to find a way to argue old law in a new way, and we had to have a topic that was relevant. So I really wanted to, talk about some of the processes that the Jehovah's Witnesses were using and, find new ways to argue that they weren't very fair. They were actually very unjust, and some would say criminal. You could argue that it's definitely criminal. So that's how it began. And so when I spoke to the Royal Commission in 2013, I talked to them just with a view to helping them, because I didn't think that my experience was within their terms of reference. They were wanting institutional abuse, and of course mine was familial, but still institutional. So anyway, I just wanted to share my experience with them so they knew how much Jehovah's Witnesses strip people of their rights, and how they silence them. I really wanted to explain that process. So basically after that, they contacted me and wanted me to do a private session, which was a separate process. And then they said, hey, do you want to come and give evidence? And so there you go. That's how I gave evidence. And so today, my goal is to work with survivors and help them have a voice. So, I've had my voice heard, but I'm really trying to work with the community to help them, all different people from all over the world. I'm trying to support survivors, not only to speak up and help them to have that courage, or maybe they don't know what to say. So that's why I decided to help with the letter. I have, in the last couple of years, I suppose life has thrown me a really big curveball. So I have had my own struggles as well. But I'm learning. I'm trying to overcome them. And so I think Monica contacted me and said, "Hey, Jimmy wants to do this letter." So, so that's why I got involved.
Well, I
with
am
the Operation Spotlight.
Yes, and I am. When Monica sent me that message and said that she wanted Shelly to get involved, I immediately, yeah, absolutely, yeah, we need Shelly on the team as well. So there's two
Thank you,
things I
Jimmy.
want to. You're welcome. There's two things I want to address in your statement. You said that you wanted to help people have their voices heard. And for so long, while we were all in Watchtower, we didn't have a voice. We were afraid to speak up. We were afraid to give our criticism about things. And even if after you leave for a while, you still feel kind of shy, you don't speak up, you haven't found your voice yet. So what this letter, Operation Spotlight, is doing, in a way, it is giving you your voice back. It is giving everybody their voice back. Now, whether you choose to use that voice, that's up to you. There's free will. But at least we're giving an opportunity for everybody to have their voice heard one way or the other. The second thing that I wanted to talk about is you said that you wanted to help people all over the world, different backgrounds, different ethnicities, if I said that word right. And so far, this is what we have, folks. This Operation Spotlight has reached several countries already. Of course, here in the United States, Canada, Mexico, Austria, Norway, Australia, New Zealand, Spain, Chile, Peru, Venezuela, the United Kingdom, Romania, Finland, Colombia, South Africa. Did I mention Argentina? Argentina, pretty much all of South America, from what I'm being told. And tonight I was asked to say the Netherlands because I got information tonight that we can add the Netherlands to that list. So the two goals that you wanted to do, we're doing that. So yay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. And I also think that it's not just the survivors of child sexual abuse, but the religion, Jehovah's Witnesses, the organization, it has systemic failures. It's got harmful policies that cause harm to people and strip people of their rights and freedoms. And I think that a lot of people, because they've either been raised in it or they've been accustomed to those processes, they don't really realize that that's what's happening. Your fundamental freedoms and rights are removed. You don't have them.
Absolutely.
And so part of the Operation Spotlight behind it would also be to shine a light on these issues and demand accountability from the Watchtower, but also to push for law reform, especially in America, with the statute of limitations for crimes.
Absolutely. Appreciate that, Shelly. All right. So, Monica, mentioned all those countries. Can you tell? So now we're going to go. So, all right. So we've met everybody. So y'all know who we are. Now we're going to talk about the roles that we are playing in this Operation Spotlight. Now, two folks that have helped me, John, XJW Analyzer, has helped me with some of the technical stuff. And then we have Jay Henschel, who did a thumbnail for me for the video. So I want to make sure that no matter how much or how little somebody has contributed to this operation, I want to make sure that they're recognized. So we have the four here on the screen this evening. We've been the main driving force of this. So, Monica, can you tell me what role you are playing in Operation Spotlight with the Central America and South America?
I actually got in touch with quite a few friends from the community, the XJW community from Peru, Venezuela, Colombia, Argentina. And I was not able to get in touch with anybody from Chile, but I was promised that someone was going to talk to one of the biggest, activists in Chile. But so far, I feel like also Brazil. I forgot about Brazil.
Let me write that down.
Adriano has as one of the Brazilian activists. Adriano, he actually has a great program, a Portuguese program, and he knows about the work that we are doing. And then we have Spain. I got the whole country of Spain, of course, and everybody is on board. And Shelly tomorrow is going to be. We have a conference call with all the friends in Spain,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
we have to kind of explain how to do certain things and this and that, and if they have any further questions, Shelly can help me there. Of course, I have to translate, right? But it's going to be fun. Everybody's going to be thrilled to meet Shelly. So anyway, it's a pleasure. It's such a pleasure to be involved in this job.
All right, thank you so much, Monica. I appreciate that, and let me know how y'all's conversation goes tomorrow with Spain.
Right.
I'm looking forward to hearing that.
Yeah.
All right, so Ruby, can you tell everyone what your role has been with Operation Spotlight?
Yes. So as soon as Jimmy called me, I agreed immediately. I've been waiting for a call like this. I know that Joe and Fran just had a show that said the call of a lifetime. That was another moment for me. Jimmy called me and said, "Would you be willing to do this?" I said, "Of course." But my biggest, I guess, strength, I would say, is social media. I'm everywhere. I try to post as much as possible, and I used all of my platforms and shows, and like everything that I do on YouTube. I was like, this is perfect. I can do this. So I made the digital flyer for the Reddit post, and then I posted it on Reddit, and I wrote everything on there, and that post is 10K views, which is amazing because I never use Reddit. So I am shocked that it went as far as it did. Um, so yeah, I also did the X posts. I did it on my show, on the JW News show. We streamed it on X. There's a lot of people that I have over like 1,400 followers on X that are not Jehovah's Witnesses, and they are looking at my stuff and texting me and saying, "Wow, I watch all of your content when it comes to your former religion, or and it's amazing, like you're doing great." I'm like, "Yeah, thank you." So I'm in a lot of different communities, and I am mixing those communities together for the first time. I am talking to an Orthodox Christian community because I just converted. I'm speaking to them about this. I'm speaking to the XJW community on X and on YouTube and on Discord. Oh, I forgot about Discord. We have the XJW Friends server, which is Vern's server on Discord, but I've been super active on there too. And there's over like 200 members on there. So there's so many people that we are reaching out to. And this is the best thing, like, for that is a letter, because it's so easy. All you have to do is download, print it, sign it, and mail it. You don't have to put yourself in a camera. You don't have to go on a YouTube channel. Like, I know that everybody's different. So this has been really easy to share far and wide with all of our platforms. So I'm thankful and honored that Jimmy called me for this, because I am a baby in the XJW community. I'm even a baby in real life. Like I'm always like the youngest one in the group, and I don't know anything. So I'm sorry, but I'm so glad that I was able to help in this way. So thank you so much.
Well,
Jimmy, I wanted to mention something that I almost forgot. Actually, Raphael David has a YouTube channel, and Raphael David, I kind of forgot the rest of the name of the show, but he is actually going to talk about it too. He's going to present the letter and the activism that we're doing behind this. and to his I don't know, 5,000 or 6,000 subscribers that he has. So we're adding on to more people that are going to appreciate this opportunity. And something else that I forgot to tell you. Well, it's gonna come back. Sorry about that.
It's
It's
okay. It
out of
happens
my
to me
mind.
all the time. That's what happens when you go live. You have a thought, then you forget it. I
Yes.
think every show that happens to me, so it's
That
okay.
happens.
I want to address one thing I saw in the comments. Somebody asked me or said, did we mention New Zealand? I can say for certainty, yes, New Zealand is on that list as well. So,
Yes.
so there's that. Go back to Ruby for a second. Ruby, thank you so much for everything that you. I'm with you. I can promote the crap out of something, and I'll blow up a Facebook page. I will do it. And what I'm thinking here, I mean, we got over 100,000 people on Reddit. I've got 3,000 on my YouTube channel. You got 2, I think.
Yeah.
Then we have our X following. So
Mhm.
and then we're going on shows, and folks are helping and spreading this message all over the place.
Mhm.
So if after we read the letter and answer y'all's questions and let you know what we're doing here, if you feel moved to share this information, please do so. Because what I'd like to see, and I don't know if I'll ever find out or not, but I mean, that's a lot of people that we're reaching out to. I would love to see at least 2,000 letters flood the White House mailroom. And we're going to get in more to that. So, but Monica, you said you had about 30 minutes this evening. Are you still good to be with us, or do you have to go?
Yeah, just a few more minutes with you guys. Yes.
Okay. All right. Is there anything now let's talk about how the idea originated. I think Monica sent me a message. I'd have to go back and look and see what the messages were. But I can't remember what you said to me. Do you remember what you said to me?
Yes.
Thank
So
God.
the thing is, I told you that I wanted to. I even talked to somebody, a lawyer, but I wanted to create some kind of international class action lawsuit that was going to require a lot of work, a lot of extra hours, and this I don't have that. Obviously, because my job impedes me to do that as a teacher. So I was thinking, since we all wrote letters back in 2017, we wrote letters to President Putin to defend our brotherhood, right?
Right.
And it was a massive amount of letters. Then why can't we do and use the same techniques, right? So
Right.
I told you, why don't we just go ahead and write international letters, a worldwide campaign to reach as many people as we can so that everybody can send letters to President Trump
Yep.
with the new, And from there you said, I'm on, you said, and I'm like, can we call Shelly?
Yeah, it's because the reason why I loved the idea is because with the political stuff that I'm into, I've learned the art of battling in an information war. And that's what we're in. We're in an information war. And so what a better way to expose or battle your component or rival than to use their playbook against them. So I told Monica, I said, this would be an awesome thing to do because we can turn around, use Watchtower's playbook against them, and there's not a, excuse the expression, damn thing they can do to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And so once then it just went from there. Guys, this idea was so organic and it came together so quickly that we've all agreed, whatever you guys believe, that's on y'all. But we believe that the universe has made us do this because
Yes,
there's
sir.
no other explanation.
Yes, sir.
So, all right. So we've prepped a lot of things. So here's the idea, folks. The idea is we wanted to create this letter. Oh, wait. Before I get there, I got to go over to Shelly. Shelly,
Oh.
your role in Operation Spotlight.
Mhm.
What's been your role?
Okay, so I have a Bachelor of Laws, and I um, did my honours thesis on, this subject, like how the processes work. And I should actually probably send you a copy so you could put it in your video description. But, coming, because I'm a survivor who gave evidence at the Australian Royal Commission, so there was only two who gave evidence, myself and BCB. It put me in and studying law and having gone through, the internal process with the Jehovah's Witnesses, being interrogated by 6 men, and then going to the criminal justice system in Australia, and reporting it through that mechanism, and going through a committal hearing, a first criminal trial, a second criminal trial, and a third criminal trial to get a guilty verdict. So, I've got a lot of lived personal experience, and from all of that, and then studying law, of course. And I used to work with police. I've obviously not. I'm in America now, but I learned so much from being around those things and experiencing those things. And even though they were, you know, incredibly difficult, I learned a lot from them. And I'd like to share those things with other people and support survivors. But I do see that, all the world, everybody in the world is investigating. All the other countries are investigating the Jehovah's Witnesses and their cover up of child sexual abuse. Yet their world headquarters sits in America untouched and
Mm-hmm.
unharmed and uninvestigated. And since I've been here for, a couple of years now, I've really gotten to understand the political landscape that Americans have, and their culture, which is very different to Australia and a lot of other parts in the world. So in America, and I do love this about America, so I treasure it, actually. They have their rights and their freedoms, and we don't necessarily have those in Australia, or
Right.
they're not as protected. So in some instances, we've got different, other things, that we have, but we don't have the freedoms over here. But in saying that, the freedom of religion is it's in the Bill of Rights, and it's one of those things that, a lot of people, they'll go, oh, it's the freedom of religion, but I see it a little differently. I'd like to argue that the freedom of religion goes both ways. I don't think it just it's not just made to protect the institution. I think it's also made to protect the individual. So the
Mm-hmm.
individual can choose what religion they want to, follow, or how they want to pray or worship God. That's their choice, and it's actually in the law over here. So instead of using it as a negative, I thought that we could turn it around, because a lot of people are not getting those choices. Some other aspects would be, not reporting child sexual abuse is, they, from the Royal Commission. And I do plan at some stage, I'm working on a website where I'm going to explain the relevance of the Royal Commission to every single case that's ever been heard in any other jurisdiction. The Royal Commission was excellent in the fact that it had a lot of powers that they could subpoena people to attend. So that would have been the governing body member, Jeffrey Jackson. But they also have a lot of powers to subpoena information. So they subpoenaed a lot of files from the Watchtower organisation in Australia. And when they did that, they found, obviously, all of those files that we mentioned in our letter. But that's evidence that they're not reporting. And when the Royal Commission asked them to change their policies, they don't want to change their policies. Yet, so I also see that as another legal issue, because first of all, the Watchtower in America is instructing elders how to respond to allegations of abuse. Now, this is completely different to priest penitent privilege, which is where one person will confess a crime, a sin to a priest, and only two people have this confessional, communication. The child abuse allegations are completely different. It is the survivor who is making a report to the elders and saying, hey, this has happened to me. That's completely different. And in my view, from the cases that I've seen, I don't think that it comes within the priest penitent privilege protections, because the elders are instructed, and this is all put out in the Royal Commission, the elders are instructed by the governing body Watchtower organisation in America. They're instructed to contact the legal department or the service desk, form a committee and then talk about it amongst themselves. So I see what they do. They're actually replacing the secular court system with their own. They are determining so somebody comes and says, hey, this happened, and then they apply the two witness rule. Hey, well, you've got to have two credible eyewitnesses to each sexual assault. That's what they did to me. And, we all know that that's not possible. We know that that rule is so protective of the perpetrator. Survivors don't have a chance at all, hardly ever, of ever substantiating their allegation. So that is a huge issue. These rules that the Watchtower has set up. So it's not like they've created these rules. This is what makes them very different to the Catholic organisation. They create these rules, then they monitor for compliance of these rules, and then they render punishment. It's like its own little government. And the two witness rule is like rules of evidence in a court. And if you go back to the Royal Commission and listen to the streaming of Case Study 29, have a look at how many times those elders say, oh, we're appointed as judges, we're qualified judges, and they call themselves judges. And so I also see an issue with that, because if you're looking at a secular perspective, right, a country has sovereignty and over their whole country. And say for Australia, we've got the Australian Constitution, and it says how to appoint judges. So and they use something called judicial power, which is a power to adjudicate crimes and hear crimes and civil issues. They have to be qualified to be able to do that. So, elders are not necessarily qualified. They're not qualified in, they're talking to traumatized survivors. They are using victim blaming language, even the two witness rule itself, the questions they ask, like, oh, did you enjoy it? So they're very victim blaming rules and questions that they ask. And it's a repeated question over and over. So the questions they ask aren't just relative to Australia. I've heard the same questions being asked all over the world. Different survivors have said the same thing. So it's coming from the American World Headquarters Organization. And in Australia, listen to this. This is crazy. So in Australia, if we have, if somebody instructs somebody else to commit a crime, the person who does the crime can be charged criminally, and the person who instructs them to commit the crime can be charged. It's called party offences in Queensland under the Criminal Code. So if Watchtower is instructing elders all over the world to not report or to destroy evidence, that's their crimes in jurisdictions. So maybe America doesn't have, a statute, they have a statute of limitations with crimes, whereas Australia doesn't. So even if a survivor reported child sexual abuse years later, 20 years later, they can still go to police and still report it, and police will prosecute. Whereas most of the cases in America, the survivors are reporting well after the statute of limitations has expired. And so that's why we also put in the letter that the internal kind of court-like structure that the Watchtower requires its members to use, which is
Yep.
called judicial committees with judges. So they appoint their judges, the elders, that is, to. And really, I know a lot of their responses publicly are saying, you know, like, well, we're only dealing with the sin. Well, you're not actually, because child sexual abuse is a crime. And you're in America, you're mandated, most of them are mandated to report to the authorities. And I, you know, so this is part of the bigger kind of so we already have a substantial amount of evidence that a lot of other countries are investigating these
Can I,
issues.
can I add something to this?
Oh yeah.
Hang on just a second, caller. Hang on just a second. Hang on, just let her finish the thought.
Oh, sorry.
Please.
Yeah. So there's a lot of evidence out there already, and so America and oh, that's right. I need to tell you as well. I'm married to Kevin Dean, and I met him in about 2019, and he actually was an elder in Missouri, and he gave evidence for the Pennsylvania grand jury. So that was amazing to meet him, and you know, we have a like-minded perception on a lot of this as well. So, you know, elders being told to destroy evidence and not report. I mean, it's just phenomenal that they keep getting away with it. And I think that what I want to say to the elders, if you're a Jehovah's Witness elder and you're following these instructions, and this is part of why else I want to talk online. If you're an elder and you're following these instructions, you could be charged criminally for complying with Watchtower policy. Yep. It is dangerous, and I really do want to warn them, because you know, they're just unaware. They're not doing. I mean, some of them are really. Some of them are genuinely thinking they're serving God and they're doing the right thing. But you've got an organisation where its priority is to protect its reputation over the interests of children and other vulnerable people.
Yep.
Yeah. Jimmy.
Yes.
I needed to point out, along with the lines from Shelly, when I wrote my letter of disassociation, I told the elders of our congregation that as an educator, I'm working closely with the Dallas Children's Advocacy Center for abused children. And I told them in the letter that it is, they should pay a fine if they don't go and tell. They don't go and tell the police about the sexual abuses that are happening in their congregations. Right. So if you're willing to pay a fine or go to jail for 180 days, then so be it. Then, you know, you're in fault. You know what I mean? So this is serious business. It's civil. You cannot do that with children.
Exactly.
Especially in our congregations, you know.
Exactly.
I still speak like a witness.
So I wanted to share with everybody, you know, who the team was. I wanted to share the role that each person is playing, so that when we read this letter, you can understand where we're coming from. And callers, if you don't mind, let us finish our presentation. I promise to open up. Rick said I could have as much time as I needed. I guess he said I could have as much time as I needed. But we will take calls. We will answer questions. But if you don't mind, let us get through this. So, because we got things in our brain and I don't want to lose those. So please, I appreciate it. So like I said, the whole idea behind Operation Spotlight is to bring awareness to what Watchtower is doing, bring it to the federal level here in the United States. Now, This is where I lose a lot of people because I like to think bigger on things. Y'all have seen the big picture. Y'all know where I go. So my thinking is I believe that the white hat military has Watchtower in its crosshairs, and they've had them in their crosshairs for a while now. One of the things that Donald Trump signed in his first term was Executive Order 13848. And in that executive order, it talks about entities and organizations who are guilty of CSA, child human trafficking, and crimes against humanity, that their assets would be seized. Now, from what I've seen with Watchtower over the last 4 or 5 years, seems like they've lost a lot of money and they've lost some properties. They've had to sell stuff off, and they're always begging for money. So there's a part of me that really believes that that's happening. If that is the case, then why don't we show them that, hey, you have our support to go after and keep doing what you're doing by sending all these letters in, letting our voice go in and say, hey, if this is what you're doing, yay, go for it, keep it up. We got your back. If they're not, at least this will possibly open somebody's eyes or get somebody's attention, and we start the process. So Shelly mentioned earlier that, other countries are going after Watchtower. They're holding them accountable for things, but the main hub is in the United States. So it's like an octopus. You got all these tentacles going out, and people are chopping off these tentacles. We're going after the head. And we just going bigger. So that's been the idea behind all this. Mm-hmm. Monica, do you want to say something?
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
All right, cool. All right. I'm going to read the letter, but Shelly or Ruby, do you have anything else to add to what I just said before we read the letter?
One good point to always remember, even if you don't think this is going to go anywhere, is that they do violate the freedom of religion that Shelly was talking about when it comes to us. I am being shunned because I don't want to be a Jehovah's Witness anymore. They don't even let you be an atheist, let alone a Christian. So they are violating our freedom of religion. And that's what we want our government to be made aware of. It's not always just about Watchtower. It's also for us as the XW community.
Yes. Thank you. Shelly?
Yeah, so the other thing that I wanted to mention is that by the time, survivors are required to report internally with the Jehovah's Witnesses, what that process does, besides silencing them and, traumatizing these survivors, it also erodes the statute of time limitations that a survivor has in America to report to police. So I think it's in most states 3 years after they turn 18. So, once that's gone, you can never, ever get that back. You can never get it criminally prosecuted. So I wanted to also highlight that part of it, and that, these abusers are either reoffending in the religion or they're reoffending in the community. And I just ask the government and President Trump to look at the costs of how much a financial strain it places on the community when you have survivors of abuse who are struggling, with, we struggle with work, mental health, depression, all of this. We struggle, even with the disfellowshipping, we struggle. So look at all that harm that's being created, not just here in America, but worldwide. And one of the charitable, qualifications over here, sorry. So as a charitable organization, they should do no harm. And they are having their hand out saying, give us money, but we're not going to report child abuse to the police or to authorities over here. We're not going to comply with your rules because we're above.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What happened? Rick, you
Sorry.
there?
Yeah, we'll be right back. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Yep.
We lost Shelly. Okay. Shelly, if you can hear us, try to log back in. Okay. All right. I guess, Rick, you'll keep an eye on that for us. Oh, now we lost Ruby.
Oh.
Are we losing everybody?
Hey, Jimmy, I'm here.
Okay,
Hey.
Monica. Yeah, Monica's back.
Oh no.
Hello?
Now I'm back.
Hello?
Hang on, y'all. We're having some technical
Hello?
difficulty. Hello?
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 Okay, Shelly's
Hello?
back.
There's
Okay.
Shelly.
Am I back? I'm
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Hang on, callers. Okay, so
Oh.
Shelly, did you want to finish that up?
But yeah,
Okay.
so that's basically the thing, they can't be having their hand out and harming people, and that's the other part of it. And one thing I got my hair done the other day, so just for an experiment, I asked my hairdresser. So great hair to Adrian from Bella OP. I can't pronounce her salon. She is the best blonde. She's done really good with my hair. So I said to her, because I talked to her while I was trying to do those edits. And I said to her, if you knew your taxpayers' money was being given to this charitable organization, the Watchtower headquarters, and you knew that they were doing this behind the scenes, would you be happy about that? She goes, hell no, I would not be. So that's another reason. So we could also send these letters to journalists and to other lawyers
Oh, yeah.
throughout the world to get
Yeah.
them on board with some of these arguments, because these are not tested arguments. These are things that I've sort of come up with myself from studying law and, just being around it. So maybe they could do that. And one thing I do want to say to survivors, since I'm in America, if you need support, if you're having a case, if you're reported a case and it's going through the courts, I'm here to support you. If you want me to be there with you, let me know. I'll try my best. So I still have a few challenges, health wise, but I'm going to do my best to support you. So please reach out, contact us through Operation Spotlight. Kevin and I
That's
want to support.
beautiful. That's
All right.
beautiful, Shelly. That's
Yes,
Yeah, thank you.
absolutely. Okay, so I know we have folks on the line that are wanting to call in and everything and talk. I promise we will get to you guys. I know that Monica was only going to be here for a little bit. Monica, if you have to just jet and we will know, okay?
That's okay. I'm okay.
Okay, you're okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this. Now, this letter, there's a reason why I wanted to do the introductions and the roles so you guys could get an idea of what we're thinking and where we're coming from and how we put this together. Now, there's a couple of things I do want, and we're going to address some of this other stuff at the end, but this is copyrighted. Y'all know what that means. So there will be no plagiarism. If we find out, then we're going to take care of that. But this is a copyrighted letter. So there's that. What I want folks to do is, if you agree with what's in this letter and it moves you to send it, sign it, send it, please do so. Now, I already know, and I've already heard this. There's a lot of people out there in the XJW community that don't like President Trump. That's fine. I don't care. Because this is bigger than someone's misconception, hatred, dislike for one man. We're all in the XJW community for a reason. Because we've been harmed by Watchtower. Some of us have been harmed by Watchtower way longer than Donald Trump's been in office. We have an opportunity to let our voice be heard by the current leader of the free world. And if you have a problem sending the letter to President Trump, then, well, one, I think you need to re-examine your thinking. And two, here's the other thing. You don't have to send it to just him. Send it to your favorite Democrat. Send it to Kamala. Send it to Joe. See where it goes. The other thing that you can do with this letter is you can also send it to your local, your governor of your state or whatever province in the other countries is. You can send it to a congressman. You can send it to a senator. You can send it to the DOJ, which I'm going to send a letter to the DOJ. You can send it to Health and Human Services. You can send it to the AGs of your state. You can even send it to your mayor. So to get hung up on the fact that this is a letter to Trump is thinking small. Think bigger. This could go everywhere. And like, I think it was Shelly that just said, or maybe it was Monica, said it could go to journalists. So we're going to read the letter. We're going to give the instructions afterwards, and then we're going to take calls. All right. You ladies ready for me to read?
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all have
Yes, I have my letter in front of me.
Fire away.
Go ahead.
Do what, Shelly?
Good job. No, it's good. I like hearing it in the American accent. It's good.
All right, cool. All right, everybody. Well, sit back and relax for a second. I'm gonna read this. It is 4.5 pages long. We had to make. Not only did we have a rough draft, but we had 5 revisions to this, and it's all Shelly's fault because she's a Virgo and she's very detail oriented. I'm just kidding, Shelly. You know I love you.
No, that's fine.
But we got it to where we wanted it. So you don't have, viewers, let folks know, you don't have to write a letter. We've already got it for you. Okay. So here we go. Dear Mr. President, subject, urgent request for federal investigation into the Jehovah's Witness organization and Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. I am writing as a deeply concerned citizen regarding serious allegations of child sexual abuse, human rights violations, and systematic cover-ups within the Jehovah's Witness organization. The Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania, along with its affiliated entities, headquartered in Warwick, New York, operates at the helm of a global network that enforces strict adherence to anti-secular policies worldwide. Some of these policies undermine governmental sovereignty by effectively substituting a country's judicial system with its own internal mechanisms. In cases of CSA, the Jehovah's Witness organization creates, monitors, and enforces rules that restrict victims of their rights. These policies shield abusers, silence victims, and replace legal process with internal judicial procedures that defy U.S. laws. Given the severity of these concerns, I respectfully urge your administration to initiate a formal federal inquiry into the Jehovah's Witnesses' policies and practices, specifically regarding CSA cover-ups, obstruction of justice, misuse of 501c3 tax-exempt charitable status, suppression of voting rights, and coercive shunning practices. Subheading: Jehovah's Witnesses and Presidential Executive Authority. Jehovah's Witnesses operate under a structured, hierarchical system that functions as a centralized governing body, exercising control over millions of members across the United States and the world. The organization's actions and policies could be subject to federal scrutiny under multiple legal and constitutional frameworks. Point 1. Executive orders on religious freedoms and human rights. Executive power has historically been used to protect civil liberties and investigate institutions that violate federal law. Given that the Jehovah's Witness policy infringe upon the constitutional rights of their members, particularly regarding forced shunning and suppression of voting rights, your administration could examine whether these policies violate federal protections under constitutional freedom laws, human rights statutes, and non-discrimination mandates. Point 2. Presidential authority to direct federal agencies. The Department of Justice, the Internal Revenue Service, and Department of Health and Human Service have the authority to investigate organizations that fail to comply with federal laws on child protection, tax-exempt status, and human rights violations. Your administration has the executive authority to direct these agencies to initiate such an investigation into Jehovah's Witnesses. Key concerns. Point 3. Human rights protection under international agreements. As the United States is a signatory to multiple human rights treaties, including the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, the federal government must intervene when an institution is engaged in practices that amount to human rights abuses, such as coercive shunning, CSA cover-ups, and forced disassociation from family and support networks. Subheading: Key concerns. 1. Failure to report child abuse. Despite sexual abuse. Despite mandatory reporting laws in many states and countries, Jehovah's Witnesses have historically failed to report CSA cases to law enforcement as an organization. Instead of reporting to law enforcement, high-ranking members are mandated to hear and determine the veracity of survivors' complaints of sexual crimes through an internal court-like process. This practice insulates the Jehovah's Witness organization from liability. It aids abusers to escape criminal sanctions and allows them to continue harming children in the community. Number 2, obstruction of justice through the two-witness rule. The internal court-like process enforces a policy requiring 2 credible eyewitnesses to substantiate allegations of CSA before any disciplinary action can be taken. This rule overwhelmingly protects abusers, as CSA typically occurs in secrecy. Additionally, the policy presumes that children are not credible witnesses, making it nearly impossible for survivors to meet the required standard of proof. If a survivor cannot meet these requirements, their complaint is dismissed as unsubstantiated, allowing abusers to remain in the community without consequence. The organization's emphasis on confidentiality ensures that allegations remain hidden, while members are instructed to prioritize protecting the reputation of the organization over individual grievances. This practice not only silences victims, but also deters many from seeking justice externally, further eroding their legal rights under U.S. laws. As a result, allegations are often dismissed internally, delaying or outright preventing reports to law enforcement. These delays severely impact survivors' ability to seek justice within the time frame set by criminal and civil statutes of limitations. The Jehovah's Witness organization have concealed thousands of CSA cases worldwide. They have destroyed evidence and silenced victims, violating federal obstruction statutes. The Australian Royal Commission determined that the organization's response to CSA allegations showed a serious lack of understanding of the nature of child sexual abuse. Number 3, misuse of 501c3 tax-exempt status. The Watchtower Bible and Tract Society and its associated entities benefit from a tax-exempt status under IRS Code 501c3 as religious and charitable organizations. Yet, despite being made aware of these issues, it prioritizes secrecy over the welfare of children by continuing to use harmful policies that violate its tax-exempt obligations. These harmful policies include failure to protect minors, despite multiple court rulings exposing CSA cover-ups, obstruction of public health efforts, and a failure to remain politically neutral. Example, removing presidential letters from government food relief boxes during COVID-19. Religious coercion through financial dependency, where shunned members lose family, housing, and support networks. Refusal to review, revise, and comply with moral obligation policies that cause harm to their members. Number 4, suppression of voting rights and constitutional violations. The Jehovah's Witness organization explicitly prohibit their members from voting, arguing that political participation divides families. Jehovah's Witnesses forbid members from voting, claiming neutrality. Yet their policies strip individuals of their fundamental democratic rights. This suppression has far-reaching implications for civic participation and self-governance. The shunning policies have been documented as a cause of severe familial division, depression, and even suicide. Restricting members' fundamental right to vote is a violation of their constitutional freedoms. Number 5, harmful shunning practices and constitutional violations. The organization enforces a strict policy of disfellowshipping, aka shunning, whereby individuals, including minors, who leave, question, fail to comply, or disagree with the policies are cut off from family, friends, and essential support systems. This practice violates multiple constitutional protections. 1. The First Amendment, freedom of religion and association. While the First Amendment protects the right of religious organizations to set their own internal policies, religious freedoms do not extend to coercive practices that infringe upon personal autonomy, legal, familial rights, or adherence to U.S. laws. The Jehovah's Witnesses' strict control over members, denying them the right to associate freely with family members unless they adhere to the faith, constitutes religious coercion. Number 2, the 14th Amendment, Due Process and Equal Protection Clause. The Jehovah's Witness shunning policies systematically exclude former members from family relationships and access to community resources, effectively punishing individuals without due process. Forced exclusion from family and community resources violates equal protection laws and disproportionately harms minors and vulnerable adults. Number 3, violation of federal anti-coercion laws. Jehovah's Witnesses use economic, social, and psychological pressure to enforce compliance with their policies. This leads to documented cases of severe depression, homelessness, and suicide. Forced shunning policies result in economic, social, and psychological harm. Courts have ruled in similar cases that religious institutions may be liable for coercive practices that cause undue harm to individuals, especially when such harm leads to family estrangement, loss of employment, or mental health crisis. Number 6, global and domestic investigations. The Jehovah's Witnesses' policies regarding CSA and religious coercion have drawn government scrutiny worldwide. Notable actions include United States. Pennsylvania former Attorney General Michelle Henry is conducting an ongoing investigation into Jehovah's Witnesses' handling of CSA allegations, including misconduct by elders. Norway. The government has defunded and deregistered the religion due to human rights concerns. Japan, New Zealand, Spain, Brazil, the UK, and Argentina have also launched formal inquiries into the organization's practices in response to CSA. Australia. The Royal Commission into Institutional Response to Child Sexual Abuses, Case Study 29, revealed widespread CSA cover-up within the jurisdiction of Australia. This investigation heard testimony that the American Organization of Jehovah's Witnesses requires the Australian branch of Jehovah's Witnesses to keep detailed case files of allegations, reports, or complaints of CSA. Evidence presented at the Royal Commission showed that although survivors made internal complaints against 1,006 members, none of these were reported to authorities by the Jehovah's Witness organization. When asked to revise its policies to protect children, the Jehovah's Witness headquarters organization refused to change the way it responds to allegations of CSA. As a result, the Royal Commission concluded that the Jehovah's Witness organization demonstrated a serious failure to protect children and that children are not adequately protected from the risk of child sexual abuse in the Jehovah's Witness organization. Their refusal demonstrates that the Jehovah's Witness organization is knowingly and willfully endangering the well-being of its most vulnerable members. Finally, call to action. Mr. President, we assert that the Jehovah's Witnesses' control over their global network, along with the policies and practices used, respond to allegations of CSA, undermine judicial investigations, violate fundamental rights, and contradict the principles of charitable work. As a group of tax-exempt entities, their actions erode public trust, place children in a foreseeable risk of harm, and prioritize institutional protection over individual welfare. Protecting vulnerable children and upholding justice is a moral and legal imperative for charities. We respectfully request: 1. The DOJ investigate Jehovah's Witnesses for CSA cover-ups and obstruction of justice. 2. The IRS review and revoke the Watchtower's 501c3 tax-exempt status if it fails to comply with charitable organizational standards. 3. Authorize the HHS to assist the psychological and social harm caused by coercive shunning practices. And 4. A public hearing like those conducted in Australia, Norway, and the UK. Survivors deserve justice, and the public deserves to be reassured that the taxes they pay are being used to benefit and support people instead of causing harm. By launching this investigation, your administration will send a clear message that no organization, religious or otherwise, is above the law when it comes to protecting children and vulnerable people. If you require additional resources, myself and the creators of this document, Jimmy Bell, Monica Kincaid, and Shelly Dean Breu, can provide additional evidence and connect you with survivors. We offer our support in any way possible. Please find our contact details below. Thank you for your leadership in upholding justice and protecting vulnerable citizens. I look forward to your response and trust in your commitment to justice, protecting our constitutional freedoms, and child protection. And then that's when, folks, you sign, date, signature, and everything. Wow. It's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yep.
Good job.
But it's good.
Good job, Jimmy.
Well done, Jimmy.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. Hey, I got that training in Watchtower by reading Watchtower magazine.
I know. We can put our skills to good use for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So
Jimmy, we got people want to call in. They're on the phone right now. So can we bring them in or what?
ladies, do y'all have anything else to add, or we're ready to take calls and questions?
Yes,
Yeah,
we're ready.
The only thing I would say, Jimmy,
Hello?
is that it doesn't matter how small your voice is, right? Everybody, as long as we all stand up together. That's all.
All right. Yeah, you're right, Shelly. Okay, Rick, go ahead. Let's take a call.
Yeah, bring the calls in. Go ahead. You're on with
Hello?
us. Go ahead.
This is Shelly from New York City. I just want to say that was excellent letters. You know, the letter is excellent. It should give President Trump, you know, all the tools that he needs to take care of the situation against Watchtower. This is surely needed, and I thank you personally for all three of you for your efforts in this regard. The reason why I'm so anxious to say something besides wanting to thank you all for this is this one thing that I have on my mind when it comes to this, that you might have forgotten, and maybe may have to be addressed at another time, which is very close to my heart, and that is the blood ban. And I believe that not only President Trump, but other leaders should be apprised of this, because this is something that is actually heinous that Watchtower has done for a quack, quack belief. It doesn't have any Bible basis or anything. And all these many people, particularly children, have died because of this, heinous, crazy policy, or, and so on. And so, because I know some other witnesses have passed away because of it, and that's one of the main things that caused me to wake up in my journey. So, is there any way, not that I want you to make any changes, or is there any way in which maybe in the near future, all three of you maybe with some other witnesses could get, ex-witnesses could get together and bring this to the president's attention and bring this to other leaders' attention, because this is really heinous.
Yes.
How
This is what I was thinking just the other day is there's a lot of things that we can expose about Watchtower. And we picked some of the biggest ones that we think that would grab Trump's attention the most. Yesterday, though, I was actually thinking that we could find somebody to maybe create another letter basically focusing just on the blood doctrine. And once RFK gets confirmed, then we start sending letters to the HHS.
Yes.
Health and Human Services.
Exactly.
So that could be something. So if there's anybody out there that is well versed in that issue, reach out to us, because that might be another idea where we can send that type of letter to RFK Jr.
Yes.
And then,
Excellent.
so that's on our radar. This is probably just the first step, but that blood thing that's important for people to know that as well.
Right.
So,
We just started something going at least now, and maybe it might be an opportunity for a Spotlight 2.0. Who knows?
yeah.
But the thing is that we just started. And
Yeah, this is just the beginning.
This is the beginning. This is the most important step right now, because we've never done this before. Nobody's done this before. I mean, it's a worldwide effort.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yes, go ahead.
Add something.
Sure.
I'm not seeing you people because I'm doing it on the phone, on my tablets. So maybe I'm obtuse breaking in like this. But the one thing I didn't hear, which I kept thinking about the whole time I heard the whole presentation, was the Nuremberg defense. I'm just following orders, because everything that Watchtower is doing, that's what they keep saying. The elders keep saying. I mean, this is a problem here. And in fact, the FBI today, when they had a bunch of agents laid off, senior officers under Trump, that's what they were saying. We're just following orders.
Yep.
I mean, I'm tired of this. Maybe that applies to Watchtower, is what I'm saying. In some context, it's probably too much to put that in there, but that's what's going on across all these cases.
Yes, I agree. There's one thing that I want to go ahead and address. Oh, go ahead. Finish up. What were you saying?
No, I'm going to let you continue. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. I really do appreciate that, because you're absolutely right. They'll try to use that defense. Here's the thing, folks. We've got this letter ready to go for everybody. Now, there are some other things, like we had the blood thing, the last caller talking about, hey, we're just following orders. Everybody has something that they may want to add. So what we're encouraging folks to do is not only sign and send this letter in, but you can write your own letter and address the issue that you may have that we may not have fully covered in the initial letter. So please feel free to add your voice to this letter. So there's that. Now, just a few other things real quick. What we're going to do is, when you sign it and everything, when you download the letter, you'll have an address to the White House. You'll have that there. So when I called the White House to find out the best way to title the envelope, and they said to make the envelope out to President Donald J. Trump with the Watchtower, sorry, y'all, with the White House address on the outside of the envelope. Write Operation Spotlight. You can do it at the bottom of the envelope, or you can do it at the top if you have enough room. You may want to put 2 stamps on it, because I did put 2 stamps on mine. And then, of course, if you want to do your return address, feel fine. As far as signing the letter, you can sign this anonymously. You don't have to send your name in, just as long as the letters get there. So my whole thinking is, is if the White House is flooded, or the White House mailroom is flooded with all these envelopes that say Operation Spotlight on it, it's going to get someone's attention.
That's right.
So that's my whole thinking about that. Ladies, help me out here. Y'all got some, I know there's some other things about this. Y'all want to share anything y'all thinking of right now?
I was just going to say there's that Pankiva case where the elders were convicted for not reporting child abuse. So that's something. So they weren't successful in using that defense, but it is something to consider too. But
yeah,
a crime's a crime. So
correct, absolutely. And we know one thing that Trump is about is rule of law, especially when it comes to the Constitution and upholding U.S. law. We see it with all the deportations. Y'all talked about that earlier. We're not going to get into that. Ruby, or let me go to Monica. Monica, is there anything else on the letter or the instructions that I may have missed yet?
No, that's it. You pretty much covered everything. I got mine. I'm sending it on Monday, so I'm pretty much ready to go.
Okay, cool. Ruby, did you have anything to share? Ruby? She was there a second ago. Is she
Hold
down?
on 1 second, Chip. Yeah, we'll get Ruby back on here in a second. Just give us a second.
Okay.
A lot of things happening here tonight, so let's get Ruby back on with us. I don't know where she disappeared to, but let's see what happens. Let's bring Ruby back on. Okay, let's add it. There she is right there. Go ahead, Ruby.
Ruby, I lost you. We lost you there for a second.
Yes.
What can you add?
I've been keeping my eye on the chat, and there is a lot of different questions and things like that. I think I'm just going to repeat that you really don't have to send your own if you don't want to, because this really covers a lot of bases that we really want to get to. If you do add yours, I would put it like as a cover sheet right in front of it or right behind it, where you can describe how your First Amendment rights have been violated that is being discussed in the letter. For example, I would say, I'm sending this letter with you under Operation Spotlight because I am being shunned over my freedom of religion. I just converted and I just got baptized in another church, but my whole family is shunning me because of that. And
Yep.
that is a violation of our First Amendment right in the United States of America. If they have the freedom, why can't we have that same freedom? So we have to keep our minds towards that. And then the second biggest thing is the CSA issue. That's really what we're trying to get at, because you can believe whatever you want to believe in, but you do not have the right to abuse people, especially children, when you don't report. So it is criminal. It's not like we cannot do what other countries have already done in America.
Yep.
So I just want to, bring up that little optimism for you, that even though we do have the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, we're one of the freest countries in the world. Why can't we do what Spain has done, or Norway, or Australia? It's not that hard, and it has been done before. So we just want to copy and paste what those countries have done. And in America, we should be able to do that.
Absolutely. Amen to that, Ruby. Yes.
Well, we got United Kingdom coming on.
oh wow, cool.
Hang on, Shelly.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, it's Johnny here. Or are you waiting for somebody else to talk?
No, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead. You got the
You're
floor.
fine.
My conclusions, it's been quite a few years since I was a legal secretary, but this is what I made of it. Really well thought out letter, but I think that the letter is all hearsay unless you enclose evidence, statements from the elders' secret manual, affidavits from victims and XJWs, court hearings that have found Watchtower guilty of violating human rights, etc. So I personally think it might be a good idea to send one letter with all the evidence along with a petition that's signed by XJWs. But that's all I've got to say. But
all right, thank you. Yeah,
We did think about that, didn't we?
Yeah, Shelly, you want to handle that one for me?
Yes, we
Um,
did.
we did think about doing that and putting all the references in. So basically, everything that we've asserted in the letter, we do have evidence to back it up. It's just that
Right.
we were trying to keep it very simple and very readable as an introductory letter. Jimmy really wanted to get, you know, President Trump. We wanted to. Sometimes, if you put too much in a very first letter, it can your message can get lost. So
Right.
we listened to Jimmy's lead on this, and we wanted to do a very succinct letter. And we did say to them, look, we have the evidence, we have this. So, but I appreciate your point, and that would have been my first. That I did mention that too, but yeah, but I do see the sense in just like putting it out there,
Yeah.
and then them coming back, and we're making assertions
Exactly.
here. Yeah.
Yes, actually, the
Thank
first
you.
letter,
Okay,
the
thank
first
you.
letter that
But
we
thank you so
wrote.
much. I agree, though. Yeah, I'm an evidence
Okay.
girl too.
Go ahead, Monica.
Yeah, the first letter that we wrote, actually, it had all kinds of in-text citations,
Yeah, we
right?
had it in there. Yeah,
That matched the references that we were using. But then, that the letter became, if this letter is 5 pages, that was probably 8 or 9 or something. So
yeah,
we have to actually make it small in order to fit all the thoughts that we wanted to put inside, right? And that's why Shelley suggested all these formats in the letter. But we had, and we still have, all the in-text citations and all the
Yes.
references in
yes,
case they want to ask us. Yes.
yes.
And one other thought too. Now I just lost it, but one other thought on that is that is why it's so important for survivors and people who are writing in to let Jimmy know, hey, if you've sent a letter, we do need feedback. So if you've sent a letter in, send Jimmy an email through Operation Spotlight at the Yahoo account there, and say, look, if you need evidence, and this is what I'm asking from the community. So this is your opportunity to have your voice heard. So if you are willing to share your story publicly or with not publicly, sorry, with President Trump, if he wants evidence and he wants to have a congressional hearing and he wants to hear all these people that have been harmed, if you are willing to do that, please send Jimmy an email and say, I'm willing to speak up about this, this, and this. Now, Jimmy's not going to share that information only with federal investigators. That's it. We're not publishing them anywhere. They're going straight to federal investigators. So that would probably be the thing that we would be asking from the community, is to give us some feedback. And if you want to have your voice heard and you've got evidence, then that would be a good way to start gathering other people externally that maybe that haven't had an opportunity to have a court case or report to police or anything like that.
Right,
And
absolutely.
That's right.
there's one other thing that I just want to mention, following on from Ruby's comment, when she said, to write, this is what's happened to us. I've been disfellowshipped, I'm shunned. Please explain to President Trump what you really want to target is the harm that you've suffered. So psychological, financial, how you're isolated, how you're depressed, like all of that. President Trump would love to see the harm that this has caused, because that's what really this is about. We're saying that the Watchtower policies are harmful and they're hurting people, and that breaches their tax status, charitable status. So
Yep.
if you want to do that, we may even get together and send another complaint specifically to the I forget what the charitable organization is, the oversight organization, but we may do that. So if you can give Jimmy feedback, that would be very much appreciated.
Thanks, and that ties into what I was getting ready to talk about, is about getting feedback. I want to know if you've sent letters in. I want, so one thing that I've done is on my YouTube channel, and I think Ruby's going to do this too. If I'm speaking for you out of turn, Ruby, let me know. But over on my YouTube channel, on the community post, it usually says community, but I think they changed it and it says post. But I've already got a poll over there asking, have you sent in your letter for Operation Spotlight yet? And the choices are yes or no. So if you've sent it in, yeah, of course, click yes. That way I can get an idea, and I think Ruby's going to do the same thing. Are you, Ruby? Are you doing it too?
Doing what? Say that again.
Are you running a poll on your community tab to see who sent a letter in?
Oh yeah, definitely. Even on X, I would do it. Of course.
Okay. Oh yeah. I can run one on X too. So what we'll do is we'll run some polls and then we'll compile them all together and see what we've got. And I'm also in that same post. Not only am I going to ask you if you sent your letter in, but I'm also going to ask you to, in the comments, tell us where you're sending it from. So like today I got Georgia, I got Ohio, I think I can't remember the other one I got, but people are putting in where they're sending their letter from. Now, one thing I do want to address about mail versus email, of course, I wanted all this to be mailed in because I want it to be visual. There are certain countries, and I know I had somebody from South Africa reach out to me saying that the mail system in South Africa has stopped for some reason. So if you're in a situation to where your country is not mailing stuff or whatever, then of course we have no other choice but to email it to the White House, and you can find what that email address is. So,
Jimmy, I've got an idea. I got an idea on that.
Can you go ahead and say that idea while we get me some water, please?
Okay.
Let me get some water real quick.
All right. So I have an idea about the South Africa country that is unable to post letters. You could get your letter, download it, sign it, take a photograph of it, or scan it into your computer and email it to Operation Spotlight, and Jimmy could post them all. We could post them all to President Trump. So then it's actually a physical thing. So that is another way around, your country, South Africa, not using a postal service right now. We could help.
All right.
Definitely.
Thank you, Shelly. All right. I'm back with my ginger ale.
I've just got my head I'm thinking of all different ideas. There was one other thing I was going to say. I also thought that there's like a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses that I've been in contact with that are survivors of abuse, or they've been affected by these policies as well. So our letter is not just for ex-Jehovah's Witnesses.
Correct.
It's also for Jehovah's Witnesses. And so please feel free to send that in, especially if you've been harmed. You can put anonymous down the bottom, so you won't be identified or anything like that. Or you can say, I have to remain anonymous because I'm afraid of being shunned or disfellowshipped, for speaking against the religion. And one other thing is that the elders. So if you are an elder and you have been instructed to destroy notes or not report child sexual abuse, and you're uncomfortable with it now that you've heard this information, please reach out to us and write to President Trump and say, I am a current elder in this organization and I have been instructed to destroy notes and not report child abuse. And I've only just found out that this is a crime and I would like to help out with an investigation. So when we're opening our arms to everybody, elders, people in the religion, people outside the religion. So yes, it's for everybody. So please reach out to us, and your information, if you want your information kept confidential, Jimmy will make sure that happens.
100%. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of, I see some folks asking about how to get a hold of the letter. One, you can go to my YouTube channel, and on the video that has the thumbnail, I do have a direct link to the Google Drive in the description, and it's also pinned in the comments. Videos that Ruby has done, she's put the link in there as well. Ruby, I don't know if you can do this or not. Can you go grab a link to it and put it in the chat?
That's a good idea.
Let's see if it works.
Oh, but it's a PDF file, so it's not gonna show up.
It's not gonna do it. Okay. All right. Not even a link?
A link. Maybe I can link my YouTube video because it'll be
try it.
But okay, so we'll see if we can do that or not.
Yeah, we'll see.
Another thing that you can do is you can use the email address. The email address is operationspotlight@yahoo.com. So you can send an email to that address. Now, guys, I'm not a fan of email, so sometimes I get a little behind on stuff, but this I'm checking every day. Okay, so I'll just bear with me, and I'll get the responses back to you guys through the email address. But yeah, just remember feedback. We want feedback. We want to know what's happening out there. This right here, it's a unifying moment in the XJW community. This transcends. Well, hey, Ruby, do you want to say this point? Because I like your spunk when it comes to this one.
Yeah, go, Ruby.
All right. Okay, so I did put the Facebook link. If anybody is on the computer and you're in the live chat, you can copy and paste the Facebook link. It'll take you to Jimmy download. You can download the PDF file from Jimmy's Facebook page. So I put it in the chat. I don't know if you guys can click it or you might have to copy and paste it. Okay, so about that political side, I do understand, like Jimmy said before, not everybody likes Trump, but who cares? I don't care who the president is. I don't care what year we're in. I don't care what country you're in. It really doesn't matter. We just want to bring awareness to this. That's why it's called Spotlight. We want to shine the light, that new light on Watchtower to expose them. Yes, we need to start taking back those terms and start turning them around and let it start working for us, because this is what we need to start doing. Even if you don't like me or Jimmy or anybody else on the panel, I don't know how many times I've been canceled. I don't care. This is a moment for all of us to come together and bring this letter forward. We're not asking you to vote for the guy. We're telling you to just send a letter. It's a piece of paper that everybody can come behind on. So yes, it's a unifying matter. If you want to collaborate, we'll collaborate. If you want to come on our shows, you can come on my show. Like the community is big enough to allow all of us to come together. And we are a group of people that have been victimized or that have been shunned or have been removed or disfellowshipped or forgotten or are black sheep or an outcast. We are that no longer. So you need to pull yourself by your bootstraps, get a pen and a paper, and sign this paper. And signed it. We are no longer victims, and we do have a voice. And even if you do think that Watchtower is untouchable, guess what? They are not. We can hit them at their wallets. We can hit them at their reputation in the media. We need to start unwitnessing about the Jehovah's Witnesses and start educating the public. And that's what we're here for. So thank you to everybody in the chat. If you're watching on the phone, on Discord, on the internet, this is what helps us move the needle just a little bit more about how dangerous it is to be a Jehovah's Witness, how dangerous it is to force children to be Jehovah's Witnesses when they don't want to be a witness anymore, and they shouldn't have to have consequences because they are no longer witnesses. It is a violation of our freedom. So let's start acting like Americans and tell our government what to do. We are no longer asking, we're telling.
I love it.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you so much, everybody.
Yes,
ma'am.
And That is exactly why I wanted her to take care of that part.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So something that you all
Hoorah!
Americans, something that you all Americans might not understand, but we're not aware of these freedoms. We in Australia, we just aren't aware of how important um the rights and freedoms are to Americans. It's only because I've been here for some time that your forefathers fought for the rights and freedoms of this country,
Yes,
and they are a critical component of law here. So, we should
exactly.
focus on them because they're being stripped away.
Yep,
Well,
So
absolutely.
do what you
exactly.
can and speak up. Let's stand together and make something
Hmm.
happen. Let's move that needle. Good job, Ruby.
Yeah, that was
I
Good
awesome.
can't
job, exactly. And I don't
say
want
it
to
better than
see,
you.
and I don't want to see in my classroom, I don't want to see children suffering either, because these perverts are out there. They
Hmm.
are out there, and they're not calling the police on them. And I see these kids, they have marks in their arms.
Yep.
Some of them,
Mhm.
I had a child, she's probably 12, 13 years old or something. And you know what I'm talking about, Shelly,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
She has cut her arms.
Self-harming. Yeah,
She has
self-harming.
cut her arms in so many ways. And I don't want to see that again.
Yep.
I always have to take her to the counselor because she shows signs of distress, like Shelly was explaining. I don't want to see that again. I don't want to see that in my childs anymore, in my children. I don't have any kids because we couldn't have kids. We were pioneers.
Right.
The governing body told us not to have kids because Armageddon is around the corner.
Yeah, I
I
know.
went through 1975, and I remember. That's how old I am, and I remember that. And now, as pioneers, we couldn't have kids, so now my children are my students, and I'm gonna do anything I can to protect those kiddos. I don't want to see them hurt anymore.
I appreciate that, Monica. And I think one thing I want the audience to realize is we 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 are doing this for a love of humanity. There's no other reason. I mean, for something to come together as quick as this did, there's got to be a higher power of some sort helping us with this.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you believe what you want, but because we've done this straight out of love, we feel like that's why it's been moving so quickly. So, all right, Rick, do you want to open up a line for some questions or anything? Does anybody want to have any questions?
Well, listen, if you're listening in on Six Screens telephone line, hit *6 right now, and that can bring you in. Talk to Jimmy. Talk to the girls that are on with him as well tonight. So let's go to 717. You're on with us, 717. Go ahead.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hello.
That's a nice. I enjoyed your program and just wanted to greet Monica, Ruby, and whoever, and Hitley, and the rest of, and Pixie, and whoever y'all's on here.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm seeing that this is serious, and you're so right about this. This is it's a grave violation of your religious freedom rights, the Constitution, and the Amendment, and all of it, and most of all of biblical law too.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. Thank you.
And nobody you shouldn't have, and I've even had nightmares.
Well, for some reason, did we lose him? We did lose him. That was Dallas. Let's move on to. I'm sorry, Dallas. We seem to have you disconnected here, but let's go to 513. 513, you're on with us. Hold on one second, Jimmy. What happens every 6 hours? The telephone line goes out.
Oh
But
yeah.
give us a second, and you go ahead and talk for a few minutes. We'll get it back up with us for a second here.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead and talk. So let's just recap. When you print your letter off, just sign it, date it. You can also put the little side. You can put your return address in. You can put your phone number in. You can put your email address. Anything that you want to put on the letter, you can put on the letter right there. When you mail it, address it to President Donald J. Trump, address of the White House. Use 2 stamps. I recommend that. At the bottom, put Operation Spotlight in big letters, capital letters, and then just send it. The time frame, yeah, this is one thing I almost forgot. The time frame on this, as soon as you download this, print it, and get it in an envelope, send it. My letter went out Friday and I would like to have anybody that's participating to have their letter in by March 1st. My whole thinking behind this is there's going to be a lot of letters coming in the month of February. That's good. I don't want it like some letters in February, some letters in March, some letters in April. No, I don't want to drag this out. I want it to hit hard. So if you get your letter, go ahead and get it in there. And then when you do that, go over to my YouTube channel on the post section and say, yes, Jimmy, I sent my letter. This is where I sent it from. So I'm really excited. This has never been done before in the XJW community. There have been letter writing campaigns. There have been, campaigns to a reporter or whatever. Those things have happened, but not to the scale of what we're doing. You can be part of something huge. Mm-hmm. And we're excited about it. And like, I think it was Shelly said, maybe it was, I can't remember which one said it, but this could be just Spotlight or Operation Spotlight 1.0. There could be a 2.0. There could be a
2.0. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think it was Monica that said that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, but yeah, I'm really excited about this. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I forgot. Everybody can write letters.
I think we covered everything.
I think we got everything. Yeah. So what I will ask from you, viewers, is share this information. If you feel moved to, please share it. Put it on your platform, send it to a friend. Like Shelly said, this is not just for XJWs. I've already got people that say that, hey, I'm married to a Jehovah's Witness. Can I send a letter in? Yeah, go ahead. So not only could this be a unifying moment for the XJW community, it could be a unifying moment between XJWs and like JWs. Kind of, sort of. That's kind of cool. Ruby, did you see anything else in the chat?
Not any questions per se, but more so commenting that, quote, I can't believe I'm doing this because I don't even like Trump, but I'm gonna do it to unify. And that's really good. I'm so glad to see that, because even if Trump.
Hold on 1 second. Yeah, we'll bring that caller on. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ruby. We get some more callers, but finish up, Ruby. We'll bring the other callers on. Go ahead, Ruby.
Okay, I mean, the last thing I was going to say was, even when Trump is out of office, I would even do it to the next president or the next one or the next one. It doesn't really matter. What we want is an inquiry, at least. Let's have a committee. Let's have an inquiry. Let's have something in place that puts the eyeball of, the government to Watchtower. Go ahead, Rick.
719, you're on with us. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that it's cutting out, and sometimes some of us are hearing you, and sometimes we're not.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think it's better now. I mean, what happened? The phone line goes off every 6 hours, so that's what might have happened. But do you have something to say to Jimmy or any of his guests on here tonight? Go ahead, sir.
No, I got my letter ready to mail, and I'll be doing that tomorrow.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Hello.
All
Thank
right,
you.
let's go to 217. Go ahead, 217. You're on with us.
Yeah, hi Rick. This is hi Jimmy and everybody in panel. This is Owen
Hey,
and
Owen.
from
Hi,
Quincy,
Owen.
Illinois. And I just wanted to thank you guys. I think you're doing a fantastic work.
Thank you.
And we sent our letters in today.
Oh,
And Jimmy, I sent you a text on your phone, and it's a link to General Flynn. And General Flynn posted something very interesting that kind of fits in with this very post or this very subject that we're talking about. So check your phone.
I will.
On your text message. There's a link to Truth Social of General Flynn, and it's on the subject of churches and laundering money. And he said there's many are going to be under investigation.
All right, cool.
Good.
Thank you, Owen, for
Anyway,
sending me
that's
that.
all I want to say.
Yeah, Owen, I appreciate that. I saw the text come through, but we were on here, so I definitely will check that out.
I know. Yeah, my timing was off. It happened right at the beginning of the show, and I wanted to let you guys finish. But the timing of his Truth Social post and the subject, I thought fit in exactly with what's going on here with this panel. And I just want to commend you guys again for your diligence and your fortitude and everything you're doing.
All right. Thank you so much, Owen. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Pasta Babe, you're on with us.
Oh,
Say hello to
Linda.
Jimmy. Go ahead, Linda.
Hi, Jimmy, and everybody there, the whole panel. Really good to see you. And what a surprise to have Shelly with you guys. I know you were talking because we have a lawyer, and now I see who the lawyer is.
Yes, yes,
Yay.
it is.
A law degree.
So there was something I wanted to bring up. Maybe it'll fall under, 2.0. But, nobody joins a cult. You get recruited by deception. The world sees us as or people that join cults as if we volunteered to be manipulated, as if we want to be controlled. They really see it as we have free choice. I don't know why you chose to do that. They don't understand the undue influence, the manipulation, the deception that's used, and also children getting baptized. And the way this organization works is that they see it as a contract at baptism.
Yes.
Okay? And it should be illegal. I believe it is illegal for children to sign contracts, or even though it's a verbal contract, it's considered a verbal contract from the organization. I believe it's even more illegal that children are being held accountable as if there's a contract they need to be held accountable to, which I believe is something illegal that, the organization tells us, and we believe we have to answer to them. These are some deceptive things that could be, brought up as far as why people within high-controlled, high-demand groups actually go along. That's part of why that happens.
Right.
So I just wanted to bring those things up.
Interesting.
Yeah,
and you're right about
we were looking at some of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're good points,
And you're
because
right.
we were discussing those.
Yes, Linda.
Okay.
You're spot on, Linda. They're really good arguments, by the way.
Yes, that would be a
Thank
good
you. I'm glad.
2.0.
I'm glad your intuition is just grabbing onto that. Thank you. And you're right about the human rights. Article 18 is the freedom of religion. And the Watchtower goes to court all the time demanding their freedom of religion for whatever case they have. And they get by with whatever they do under freedom of religion. But what the ordinary Jehovah's Witness, and even those of us in the ex Jehovah's Witnesses don't realize, is that we too have freedom of religion. And in that Article 18, it states that we have the right to change our religion or our belief, which means we can change our religion to another denomination. We have no belief at all. This is a human right that we have no clue, many have no clue, that we are in fact entitled to. Just like the organization is entitled to it, so are we. And and as a consequence, yes, disfellowshipping, getting kicked out of a group because you break the rules, that's normal. But the ostracism that accompanies it, what, it's been considered psychological violence. It's horrible. It's really horrible, So yeah, I just wanted to bring up those points, put them wherever you want.
Excellent.
Well, thank you so much, Linda.
Thank you,
I
Linda.
appreciate that,
Excellent.
Linda. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Sure. I'm
Jimmy,
really glad
just
you suggested to sign it anonymously, because I don't hate Trump. I'm just scared to death of his ass. And I am, I'm DEI. So I don't know if I want to bring unnecessary attention to myself. But I do think what you guys are doing is an awesome thing. I'm just, I'm in my point of like, I'm wanting to unite, and yet do I want to bring unnecessary?
Well, just remember, Linda.
When you said you could sign it anonymous, I thought, oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And remember, Linda, you don't have to just send this just to Trump. You can send it to everybody else in in the governments or whatever. You can send it to other people
journalists.
too.
You can send it to journalists.
Yeah, you can send it to journalists.
Yes. I'm
Your
every
state
time
politicians.
I listen to, what you all put together, I'm hearing new things. It's really exciting.
Yeah. So
thank you. But your point on that the coercion, that was another argument that I've talked about before. So in some jurisdictions, the shunning, where they tell one family member in the religion not to talk to another family member, that can be classified as domestic violence and coercion, so there are other laws that infringe on that as well. So in some jurisdictions, like I think Australia's now got coercion is a law in Queensland. So you can coerce someone, which means you're going to punish them if they don't do what you say. Coercion. So that is actually classified as domestic violence. So you're spot on. You've got a really good legal mind there, Linda. Great work.
That's so funny. My dad used to tell me when I was a kid, you should be a
lawyer.
lawyer. What a great compliment. Thanks. Okay, I'll let you all go.
Thank you, Linda.
What I think is missing by Linda, is missing is that, the community of Jehovah's Witnesses, we've been raised up to only read Watchtower magazines. They've purposely kept us naive to our rights and our freedoms. Like we don't have that information. We wouldn't know it. So I think if any of you, even listening, can educate somebody else about your rights and freedoms, or share the letter, and I think a big part of waking everybody up that it is in the community. We have so many people, but I just they don't realize that they've got the power to do something and they've got a voice. So it's just educating yourselves that these rights are being stripped from you, and especially in America, it's not okay.
Yep.
It's not okay at all.
Absolutely.
So educate people that you talk to about your rights and freedoms, and if you can share it with somebody, please do. I really appreciate your call, Linda. That was great.
All right.
And that's why I started the XJW Political Corner, is because I know we are not prepared to have an opinion politically about anything. We don't even know how politics works in our country. So that was the main goal for me. And now that I've woken up to politics, I'm like, this is exactly why Watchtower doesn't want us to know these things, because we have the power. We just have to use it. If you don't know how to use it, you're not going to. So this is a way of opening up that door for you. But this specifically is not really that political. It's more of like activism. You want to spread awareness and exposure to it. And, Jimmy was joking the other day that he might send it to Kingdom Halls. And you know what? I was just thinking, I'm going to send it to my mom. You don't even have to put a sender. You know what I mean? Just put the person's name and send it straight. I would even send it to my mom so they could open it and they can start gossiping about it, because Jehovah's Witnesses love to gossip.
You know what?
You're right.
I think I'm going to do it.
Yeah, they love to gossip about everything. So if they see a letter like this and they'd be like, who sent this to me? Of course she's going to say me, because everything's my fault. Oh, Ruby must have sent this to me. So
hey, you know what? Hold on. That's using Watchtower's playbook against them.
Yes.
They want to send out their little letters to everybody.
Yes.
Boom. Guys, send it to the Kingdom Halls.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Send it to your family. That's what I would do.
Get it
I
out
mean,
there.
yeah, like I am so I'm so
Educate.
far. Like I
Yeah.
don't care anymore that when we do stuff like this, there's nothing they can do to you now. We already lost
No.
everything. There's nothing to lose. There's no
Exactly.
name that they can call you. They can't kick you out anymore. They can't shun you anymore because they're already doing it. They
Exactly.
have nothing against you. They have no leverage. So when you come across something like this, you could anonymously send it to somebody else and start planting those seeds, right?
Exactly. When you lose everything in life, then you have nothing else left, right?
Yep.
And that's powerful.
I was just
Except
sitting here
your voice.
thinking, if someone is hung up on sending a letter to President Trump, okay, I get why they may have that idea. But now ask yourself, how long has Watchtower negatively affected your life personally? How long is that? We have an opportunity to stop the cycle.
Yes.
So are you going to get hung up on Trump, or are you going to think about all the crap that's happened to you at the hands of Watchtower, and out of love for your fellow human, would you want to stop that so that future generations don't have to be the ones doing this?
Yes.
Good point. Good point.
Well, we got Lawrence, Kansas. Lawrence, Kansas, you want to come on? Say hello to us. Go ahead, Lawrence, Kansas.
Yes. First of all, I want to thank you, Jimmy, and your group there for stepping up the plate. I've been wanting to get something done like this for years and years, ever since I come on the sixth, and even before that, since '98 when I left. And I just wanted to mention too, along with everything else, is how the Watchtower uses all this mind control, manipulation, coercion, all these things with one thing in mind. Before you die, we hope we can get you to sign over everything we have to the Watchtower. They bully people. They bully elderly folks into signing over their money, their estates. And I think this is just a horrible crime in itself, along with everything else they do. So that's another thing I want to touch on too with President Trump, along with all the shunning. Myself, when shunning, I had to turn in a Jehovah's Witness for shunning me on the job. He was actually holding his hand up like I walked by him, or he'd step to the side 5 or 6 feet away from me, like he was just thinking I was some sort of a poisonous individual coming down the aisle where I work. And he was talking to a friend of mine, and I stood up by my machine, where I work, and then he said, "Let's go down here." And he moved about 7, 8 feet away from me. Just unbelievable. They got on him about it, and he stopped doing that. But he could have possibly been fired for doing that kind of stuff. And one time I was walking behind him, he sped up like he just couldn't get away from me quick enough. He saw me at a grocery store called Dillon's here, and he just walked away from me, and then he just peeked around to see if I was gone yet from the aisle where I was making my selections. Unbelievable what they do. I even go to this gym, and I've had Jehovah's Witnesses come out there, and they'll see me, they'll leave right away. It's just unbelievable the things they're doing to people's lives. They really try to mess with you psychologically, and how they break up families, and some people haven't seen their family members for 30-some years. It's just unbelievable. This has to stop, and I have a real good feeling that we have a pretty good chance to get something done. It may take some time, but I think Trump will do something. I really believe that in the bottom of my heart. And I'm just really thankful that you guys have stepped up to the plate. We've got a good thing going our way here. And if we could see justice, that would give us a lot more closure and make us feel better about everything in life.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you so much.
I want to add.
Thank you. Actually, Shelly, tomorrow we're supposed to talk to the friends in Spain, and one of the administrators of our group, which is together we're administrating this little group of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. She lost her father 2 weeks ago. Her father died, right? And of course she was taking care of her father and everything. And while in the hospital, after he died, the elders came into the room, and they talked to Pili. Pili is her name, Pilar, and in front of her father, just recently died in front of his own body. The elders come in and they said, Pili, we know you've been out, away from the truth, right? And we urge you to come back to the truth. You have an opportunity to see your father, your brother, because her brother committed suicide also. And you'll see your mother and all that. And then, of course, Pilar was furious. She said, how'd you dare come in front of my father? Jesus, he just passed away, right? And you're coming to tell me all these things that I don't even believe anymore. So it's like they don't have a brain. They're brainless. To
Yep.
me, they're like androids. That's how I feel. The elders, because they're following command, like
Yep.
what we wrote in the letter, right? Shelly, we wrote that part.
Yeah,
They're
yeah, we
following
did.
command. They're following the
Yeah.
command of the governing body. So to me, that they're heartless, brainless. They don't have a mammalian brain anymore. They're androids,
They're
completely
they're
androids.
violent too. They're
Yes,
violent too.
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
I
Yes, sir.
personally experienced it. I don't know if I can butt in for a second, but I know a personal experience at a Home Depot where I met a witness. I hadn't seen like 5 years. Last time I was with him, we were at a big truck rally. His wife and him, his 20-year younger wife. That's how it is, really long hair. Anyway, I was playing with her hair. I admit that, but ran into him. He didn't know who I was. Well, when I shook his hand, said, "Hey, nice to see you, Ralph." Anyway, a couple minutes later, I told him, by the way, I'm not going to Kingdom Hall. I tell people up front, be real friendly, tell them, I don't go to Kingdom Hall anymore, man, but I still love you, So 20 minutes later, I'm talking to a salesman in the middle aisle of Home Depot. And he starts coming at me from like 200 feet away at the other end, the electric end. And I'm watching him say, "Hey, Ralph," and he just butts right between us, like a bull. Me and the salesman, it's like, oh my God. But guess what? He dropped dead 2 months later. He was like 54, over-the-road truck driver. I knew he used to wear female bodysuits. I found that out because witnesses gossip about everything. And he probably was using amphetamines on the road. No, I'm telling you, this is all true. I'm not even making this up, man. But he dropped dead.
Wow.
Like 2 months later, Ralph Manis, he's dead. I hate, maybe someone's going to sue me because I mentioned his full name. But it's like they have so much anger because you actually shook his hand and fooled him. I've done it to a few other witnesses, found them in public and came up on and said, "Hey, man," shook their hand, and that's an automatic response of the witness, And before they know it, they shook a hand and let him pop, man.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for calling in and telling us that, sharing
that
with us.
Right, Joe. I'm right, man. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
All right,
you.
so
Thank you.
it's been 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yes.
And personally, I feel like I've been on videos. I mean, I've been on more videos in the past week and a half than I have the last 6 months. So I'm a little tired. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Monica, do you have any final words that you want to share about our Operation Spotlight?
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure working with you guys, and just go for it. I'm gonna send my letter tomorrow. I actually have 2 stamps left, and I'm gonna go ahead and send my letter tomorrow. Just do it. Do it. We have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Right. So just do it.
Thank you, Monica. Shelly?
Yes, this is about holding the organisation accountable and promoting law reform and making sure our vulnerable children and adults are protected. So if at all you can do this, it would be a very non-confrontational way to have your voice heard. So just do that. And if you're not happy
Yes.
with President Trump, send it to somebody else.
Right.
But I did want to say one thing though. We also I think this would be a really good opportunity. You know, like Lawrence was speaking about how they were influencing older people to hand over their possessions or and will their estates to them as they die. If anybody has any information about that, please email Jimmy, because that is another whole complaint, because before they've been in there's been Ponzi scheme cases where Jehovah's Witnesses have been prosecuted by the FCC, I think. So that is something. So if you have any information about that, email Jimmy, and we'll get in touch.
All right, I appreciate that.
We love our XJW community.
And
Everybody's
the
doing a
blood.
great job. Everybody's doing
Yes,
a great job.
Yeah, and the blood issue too, that one of the other callers talked about. So if you've got any information where someone you love died, or and you want to, it's because of the blood issue, or it's because of suicide, because of disfellowshipping, or child sexual abuse, please let Jimmy know, so we can, if you want to have your voices heard, then we can group these as evidence for the government complaints that we're going to make. Further government complaints.
Yep,
and that might be Operation Spotlight 2.0. Who knows?
Yeah. You never know where this may go. So
this is a little monster.
Yes, it can be. So Monica, Shelly, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Introducing yourselves.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Fearon.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Rick, as well.
Well, Jimmy, I have to tell you, that's a very successful program. A lot of people are listening in tonight. I couldn't believe it. A lot of people coming through on our radio network as well as on our other platforms. Great job. We want to thank Shelly, Monica, and Ruby. And, of course, you, Jimmy. It's making a difference. I'm getting my letter out as well. I've been working on that. I just don't want to carbon copy it. So I'm trying to make some adjustments to it. But I think it's a great thing. I really do believe that President Trump, he's willing to listen to a lot of things, more than some past administrations that we're aware of. So I think that this could be great. I think you're doing a great job. And look I'm really, like I said at the onset of the program, it really ticks me off that there's some people that are not really wanting to go along with this. I don't get it. We are all, we are all been touched by the tentacles of the Watchtower. And, anything that can make a difference, I say do it. If you do nothing, Jimmy, nothing, as you say, happens. So we gotta keep moving forward. You guys are wonderful people. Don't you ever give in, up or out. Keep going in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Rick, thank you so much for having us on. Really do appreciate that. And to kind of the last little point about the negativity or people not want to do something. Some people will scream and say they're activist until there's time to do activist work. And now is that time. Right. So if you are a content creator, if you are a serious activist, why wouldn't you get on board with this? Why wouldn't you lend your voice to this? So so let's do this. We all can take a share in this.
Do your homework. I will always something that I learned from Jimmy. Always Jimmy said, do your homework before you do anything. Just do your homework, and that will reassure you where you're standing. And that's what we did. That's what I did. I did my homework, and it's paying off. Yes,
I appreciate it. So, Rick, did you have any final thoughts about the letter?
What we'll do, Jimmy, is in the next. We have to get this in by the end of February. So I'm going to continue to bring this up on the Six Screens programs. We do it every Saturday night. Okay. So I'll continue to make a little segment about it and make sure that people get it in. And if we can, like you say, get 2,000 letters, that would be phenomenal. That would be wonderful. So I'm going to do my part. I'm going to try to get everybody to get that letter written, get it in, even if they have to carbon copy it. and put it in there. But sometimes it's good to put a little bit of your own ideas into it as well. So, but no matter how you do it, let's get those letters in.
All right. I appreciate it,
All right.
Rick. Thank you for your time and thank you for the platform tonight.
Good
Really
night,
appreciate
y'all.
it.
Well,
And to
thank you, Rick.
everybody watching, appreciate you guys. Love you all very much.
Love you all.
Thank
Let's do
you.
this.
Thank you. And
Yeah, let's do
it'll
it.
only be successful if people take action. So
Yes.
we need your help.
Correct.
That's basically
Be,
it.
be proactive.
And we appreciate it.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. Be proactive. Mhm.
I like your attitudes. You're absolutely right, Shelly and Monica. Thank you. Yeah, you too. I'm seriously. You guys are really wonderful in helping Jimmy. We're gonna make a difference. We're gonna get this thing done. We're gonna expose the Watchtower. We're gonna let the world know and Donald Trump know how evil this organization is. Thank you guys very much. Thank you. Appreciate
Good night,
it.
y'all.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Right.
Well, I mean, that is Jimmy Bell and his friends. How good it is to see these things going on. Friends, we are going forward in exposing the Watchtower. Many people are really now understanding what the Watchtower is hiding behind. So we applaud Jimmy and his friends for bringing this to our attention. Keep standing tall. Don't you guys ever give up and keep moving forward, exposing the Watchtower. Thank you. We will see you next week right here on the Six Screens Tele Network. Thank you.